Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and today we're getting into some regular Master League Go Battle League battles. Got a spice set for you guys, or at least I think it's a spice set. I don't do enough regular Masters to know for sure. You tell me if Zekrom is a spice Pokemon, but I think it is, and I think it's an extremely worthwhile, valuable spice pick in regular Masters battle because I put together a really good team with it and used it as a closer, and it really went in some matches, and we have a extremely solid set here for you guys that I'm excited to showcase on the channel. Now, what you'll notice when we get into these battles, these are rank 9 battles, so I had a slight change of plans. I streamed one day, took a day off, did some battles, gained 100 points. The next day, hit rank 10. I had this video before both of those days, and the rank 10 hype always needs to come first. But these regular videos will always be here. Don't just think that I'm going to be putting up streams. I'm going to try to put up more streams, but like in a consistent way where maybe it's like once a week. Other than that, the regular videos are here to stay for the most part. I hope you're excited for some Zekrom spice in regular Masters battles. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's check out how Zekrom performs. Team of 3 we put together around Zekrom consists of a Melmetal lead, Giratina Origin save swap, and again Zekrom as a closer. I really like Melmetal as a lead because even when it loses leads, well, not this one specifically, even though this is a lost lead, you can typically superpower and dip. Here, didn't want to superpower and dip because, you know, Ghost is going to double resist a fighting move. So I save swap into Giratina Origin and I lure out the Dialga. So that's also a part of the strat in using this team. Get that Dialga out so that Zekrom can have a better chance in the back going up against whatever other Pokemon are left, because Zekrom doesn't really want to see Dialga. Dialga takes neutral damage from the Dragon Breath from Zekrom. Zekrom's taking super effective. So Zekrom, don't like that. So we shield this because we know we can get to another Ominous Wind and threaten their shield. We want to get shields low so that Zekrom can come through and close, throw its heavy hitting charge moves. It's currently running Crunch and Wild Charge. Wild Charge obviously being the stronger move. Crunch for dealing super effective damage to Giratina Origins and being cheaper than Outrage. And because we're dealing Dragon Breath damage, we want to make sure we're getting to our charge moves as quickly as possible. We send in Zekrom there to finish it off, and then they bring in a Melmetal here, and we're like, oh, you know what we can do? We can Wild Charge and dip. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to build all the way up to this Wild Charge. I fully expect the Giratina Origin to come in when I swap my Melmetal. They might potentially throw a superpower here, so we're waiting to see how they want to play that game out, and they don't. They save a bunch of energy. They bring in their Giratina Origin, and I don't mind this at all because they were farming up, and as they farmed up, my Melmetal farmed up. So I'm going to throw a bunch of Rock Slides at this Giratina Origin as it comes back in, and we just need to try our best not to get baited here. So we're going to try and call the bluff here, and we don't call it successfully, but Melmetal can tank Shadow Ball pretty well, and this works out for the better because once Melmetal goes down, hopefully they don't Shadow Claws down, I should be able to Dragon Breath the Giratina Origin down with Zekrom to build it up some energy to deal with the Melmetal later in the match. So that's the plan at this point now that the Shadow Ball went through, but they decide not to shield anything, and I'm like, oh man, can I Thunder Shock this thing down? So it's really low. I'm like, you know what? It's still some energy for my Zekrom to farm up, so let's just commit to Zekrom here to close out this match. Plus, the Melmetal is also really low, and even though they have a shield, they are going to throw Rock Slides here to try and take me out, but they're going to need to throw quite a few Rock Slides. I might be able to Dragon Breath them down in time because Zekrom is just hitting so hard with its attack stat. It has, I'm pretty confident, the same stat product as Dialga, so these Dragon Breaths are hurting just as much as Dialga's Dragon Breaths would hurt on this Melmetal, and it's tanky enough to withhold these Rock Slides that are coming through. And even though that was a superpower, it doesn't finish me off. It lowers their defense and their attack, so they can't Thunder Shock me down, and I was able to Dragon Breath them down, and the Giratina Origin comes in, and I finish it off. Zekrom closes the match. Also, one other thing, like I stated earlier, these battles were from some days ago. Typically, I commentate my battles like the day after I've done them. So if I forget anything or I kind of miscommentate because I'm just not remembering what happened in that moment, please do forgive me. Getting into this next match, we got a positive lead here. I know what happens there. No matter how forgetful I am of these matches, they swap. I go into Giratina Origin so I can deal with super effective damage. My plan here is to just throw Ominous Winds because you can already see how much the Shadow Claws are chunking at the Mewtwo, but I am worried about a potential Shadow Ball, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to call their bluff. They go for a Psy Strike. Psy Strike dealing neutral damage still hurts a lot, so when they come through with this next Psy Strike, I have to shield it. But now I've overloaded on some energy, and I'm going to go for my first Ominous Wind. I don't think it'll necessarily take out the Mewtwo. I'm not 100% on it. Again, I don't know these matchups as well as I would prefer, but I know it would get it low enough where I'd be able to farm down the rest of the way. And the more I Shadow Claw at the Mewtwo, the more I'm like, you know what? There's no reason to throw a Shadow Ball. Let's go straight Ominous Wind, try to get a boost also. They decide to double shield there, which I found interesting. And because they double shield, I wanted to keep my Pokemon lined up properly since I wanted Melmetal on that Dialga. So I double shielded, and then they swapped into Groudon. And Groudon is the biggest weakness on this team of 3. Giratina Origin is the main check for Groudon because it can win most shielding situations depending on baits and whatnot. Zekrom and Melmetal do not want to see Groudons, and what I wanted to try and do here was catch his Fire Punch to make them waste some energy. I was not able to pull that off, so now I'm going to go into Zekrom here because Melmetal has the better matchup against Dialga, so I need to rely on Melmetal specifically for that. And I was really hoping that maybe they didn't overfarm before, or I could at least try to get to a charge move before they got to an Earthquake, and I was not able to, so my Zekrom got Earthquake there. Thankfully, my Melmetal had a little bit of energy there, so I was able to throw this Rock Slide before they could even get to a Fire Punch because they definitely knew I was going to throw as fast as possible since I had 2 Pokemon here weak to their Groudon. And I do get rid of the Groudon, and that Mewtwo is almost dead, and I think it's like in farm range. The Dialga has full health, but I don't mind this zero shield situation against Dialga with full health because even a Draco Meteor or a Thunder isn't going to one-shot my Melmetal. All I need to do is throw 2 superpowers and make sure neither of them land on the Mewtwo, so that would be my win condition. Land the first one, awesome, they pull the swap. I expected the swap, fully expected that, still fell for it. Don't charge that superpower at all, because my only win condition now is to Thunder Shock down the Mewtwo to get my energy back, so I could then throw a double debuff superpower at that Dialga. So they threw a Side Strike, luckily my Melmetal, even though debuff survived, but unfortunately that Dialga had energy. They made an insane play here to end up pulling out this win. So unfortunately I could have won that if I would have not let them swap on my charge move, but they made a really good play on me, and it's GG's to my opponent. Getting into his 3rd match of the set, trying to bounce back from that loss that should have been a 1, but my opponent made a huge play. Again, respect and props to them on that, even though we expected it too. Getting into the 3rd match, we have a Melmetal on Zekrom lead, and I don't know this matchup too well, but when I check the sims, I know Melmetal lost. So when I know Melmetal loses a lead, I'm throwing a superpower and I'm dipping. Can't dip into Giratina Origin because it's going to take super effective damage from the Dragon Breaths from Zekrom, so I actually safe swap into Zekrom in this match, and then they take a little while, so I get a nice bit of chunk damage, chip damage on their Zekrom, and then they safe swap into their Dialga. I was trying to build up the 2 Wild Charges here. Wild Charge will be resisted, Crunch will be dealing neutral damage, but at the same time Wild Charge is a better move, and Wild Charge is getting stabbed, so I actually feel like it's the better move to go for in this situation. The issue was, because I debuffed my defense, I was not able to get to a second charge move. If I didn't debuff my defense, it would have been questionable. I might have been able to get to another charge move, potentially threaten a second shield. So they throw the Thunder there, but at least I have shield advantage. I'm over farming here so that I can at least throw another charge move at the Zekrom when it probably comes back in to deal with my Melmetal. This superpower will take out the Dialga's remaining health unless they decide to shield. They don't decide to shield, it goes down, but again, like I said, I'm over farmed here, so I'm going for another superpower that will get, I think this would take out the Zekrom's remaining health. I'll get it really, really low, and then I swap quick, and this swap ends up being a mistake because I have no problem letting my Melmetal go down. I don't want this charge move to land on my Giratina Origin, and unfortunately I had to use a shield because of it. Luckily, their last Pokemon ends up being a Melmetal, and Giratina Origin on Melmetal is a positive matchup in even shield scenarios. I want to just confirm that and make sure of that by landing the Shadow Ball. That will definitely seal the fate of my opponent here. So I actually go straight for the big move, just because I feel like the bait here would be expected and obvious, but they end up shielding it anyway, and I'm not feeling too bad about it because I still have a good chunk of health. That Rock Slide really didn't do a lot of damage to my Giratina Origin, and I'm going to just play this out experimentally and see how much the next Rock Slide does. Let that go through. Giratina Origin's health can definitely take another Rock Slide. Again, matchups, I haven't played in a while, don't know them too well, was able to get to another Shadow Ball there, and I know that if they throw this Rock Slide, technically I could tank it, but the safe play is to definitely shield it. Zekrom's almost dead, so all I want to do here is get to the Ominous Wind and finish off the Melmetal, but they decide to safe swap their Zekrom, and that ends up just being Shadow Claw energy for my Giratina Origin, and I get to the Ominous Wind anyway, and Giratina Origin's actually going to pull out this match, but because Zekrom was such a solid safe swap, So, for those of you that think Groudon is too big of a weakness, specifically a Groudon lead is too big of a weakness for this team of 3, let's get into the 4th match of the set. We got a Melmetal on, would you look at that? A shiny Groudon lead. Here's how we play this out. We build up all the way to the superpower. That's what we're going to go for here. We're going to throw the superpower. We're going to dip. We're going to our save swap, Giratina Origin. So let's wait for this superpower to go through. It lands. We're just going to slowly chip away at this Groudon, essentially. That's going to be the goal here. We'll take it down in clumps. They actually decide to throw their energy here, and because of the way they decided to throw, it kind of felt like it was an Earthquake. Called the big move. That was huge. I shielded it, and then they safe swapped into their Dragonite, which has a positive matchup against my Giratina Origin, but because their Groudon stayed in, Giratina Origin was able to get a nice chunk of energy there. They end up shielding the Shadow Ball that goes through, and now I'm just hoping that before they get to another charge move, or before they decide to throw their charge move, I can get to one. Unfortunately, I was not able to, but I have no intentions of committing to my Giratina Origin here. It's done plenty for me. So I'm going to go back into Melmetal, and I'm just going to absorb all of Dragonite's damage because Melmetal will resist any of the moves that Dragonite throws, and I'm going to spam Rock Slides and hope that I can essentially farm this Dragonite down. So they're going for a charge move here, no intentions of shielding because I know Melmetal will resist this Hurricane that comes through, and now I'm going to Thunder Shock down, and I'm fully expecting that Groudon to come back in, and what do you think we're going to do when Groudon comes back in? We're going to throw another superpower, and we're going to dip again. So let's go for another superpower here. It gets their Groudon into the red, and now Groudon in the red isn't looking as scary when I can deal Dragon Breath damage. They only have a Giratina Origin left in the back, and because they left their Zekrom in for so long, I'm already out of crunch. This is going to deal super effective damage. It gets a shield, but these Dragon Breaths are still hurting. My goal here is to try and not get baited and let the Shadow Ball go through, but honestly, even if it goes through, I'm not feeling too concerned about this match. I throw up the shield there, they throw the Shadow Ball, so I'm feeling better about this match regardless, and because they let me get so much energy on their Groudon, I'm able to get to another crunch and outpace them to their charge move essentially, and this crunch will finish off their Giratina Origin. The Groudon comes in, we chunked away at it in bits and took care of the job part by part to win that match. Getting into the 5th match, currently 3-1, shoulda, coulda, woulda been 4-0, but our opponent in that one loss played a really good match. So again, shout out to them on that, but the point is this team is having success in Master League. Getting into the 5th and final match of the set, we have a Melmetal on Giratina Origin lead here. We're going to play it how we played it the first time we saw Giratina Origin in the first match, and how we won that. Safe swapped into our Giratina Origin, and they go into their Dialga just like our other opponent did. So let's see if we can make this magic work again the way it did the first time. We land that Shadow Ball. Awesome. They're going to get to an Iron Head relatively soon. We're going to shield that, and then we're going to go, well, we're going to go for our own Ominous Wind. So we actually end up CMP tying because they decided to overfarm a little bit there. They get the Iron Head through, I shield. I'm now going for the Ominous Wind. This will get their shield because they do not want to give up switch advantage since they had won that lead so nicely. And even though they don't know I have Zekrom in the back, they definitely don't want their Giratina Origin on my Zekrom. So now what I did in the first match was I brought Zekrom back in to farm down this Dialga. The difference here is this Dialga seems to have a little bit more health, and that's, oh, never mind. Alright, I'm mixing this up with something else. I apologize. I was able to farm it down. Could have swore they got to another charge move there, but I am mistaken. Like I said, these matches were a couple days ago. I do apologize. They go into a Melmetal just like the other opponent did, so we're going to do the same thing we did last time. So I'm wondering how this matchup ends up going differently. Well, we throw this Wild Charge here, and then we safe swap into our own Melmetal, and our opponent plays it out differently here because their Melmetal decides to throw their energy. I'm wondering if it's a bait, even though they could superpower and dip just like they are about to. And then, oh, that's how this match goes. We got swapped on again. We're throwing a superpower at a Giratina Origin. That was GG. Letting their superpower through was obviously a mistake, and I should have known better to shield there because they could have superpowered and dipped. The fact that they didn't dip gave me a chance, but that swap was insane. I swear I was clicking superpower, like it was clicked, I was already scrolling bubbles, and then they swapped. Like that's how last second that swap was. Respect to them, GG's to them on that one. That won them the match right then and there because this was the exact same match as the first one, and we lost lead, and that one pulled it out. This one lost lead, should have been able to pull it out, but again, some really good plays by our opponents, and respect to them for it. It happens. We could have won this match, could have been 5-0. This team is still having success, but again, we're facing high-level opponents here. That's just how it works. We gotta be looking out for those types of plays like the ones that just happened. Like these types of swaps. So at this point, it's GG. They're going for the Rock Slide. That's going to finish my Zekrom off. And I'm unfortunately not able to pull out the final match. I do go 3-2, but this 3-2 could have easily been a 5-0 if it were not for some fantastic plays by our opponents in those 2 losses. So, as always, let me know what you guys thought of those battles. Let me know what you thought of Zekrom as a closer in regular Masters battles. And honestly, a Pokemon like Zekrom with some high attack, a bit of bulk, dealing high damage Dragon Breaths, and then just having access to a move like Wild Charge in potential no-shield situations is always going to be a recipe for success. Other than that, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If there are some regular Master League mons that you want to see me try out, I'm open to doing more spice if I have the mon with a good IV and I have the resources to test out, because I want to experiment with stuff in regular Masters since it's not already my forte. I want to try to give you whatever unique content that I can. Alright, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.